Hi, team. Welcome to the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. Coming up, the first in a shorter format, quick tips type of show, and I'll explain what that means as we get into it. But first, some game and AIE guild news. Our broadcast astromech today is EPC 157. Hey, 157, I watched this documentary about how the Death Star was built, and I gotta say it was riveting, EPC. It was riveting. With me, as always, is Seema. Hi, Seema. How's it going?
It is going pretty well. I mean, I read that joke ahead of time, and I still had to laugh when you said it because you actually went through with it, and that's pretty funny.
I dared to go through with it. Yes.
Yeah.
This is the case.
I just want to say I was on Ziost this week with my DVL character because I wanted to do Ziost, right? And I was going to go through and very carefully not get ahead of the achievement so I could do the achievements on these characters, which I got ahead anyway and missed some of them. So I had to come in on a different character to finish off some achievements. But I had no idea there was one there that was a fun, like, puzzly one. So actually it was really fun. So
Yep.
that's my tip for today. Just do the achievements on Zio. Some of them are really fun.
Yeah, little couple hidden ones there.
And I didn't get the hidden ones, so I still have that to look into. The ones I got were just all already on Delphi's page, so if there's more than that, I have that to look forward to.
I think Delphi's got them all, but yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and this week I did a lot of the usual stuff, a little more DVL, some of the minor side things. I'm still not getting as many of those hard mode flashpoints, or any of them, done as I want to. I think I've only got like one or two checked off. Ops, Mandatory Fun Night was fun tonight with the Gree back in town. I am still going through the Thrawn trilogy. I'm on the second book. I put another book in between. I put The Last Wish, which is the book that the Witcher game series is based on. That was sort of fun. I think I'm going to do book 2 of Thrawn, and then I think I'm going to do something else in between, and then I'll do book 3 of Thrawn trilogy. Book 2, high on my list, I think might be To Kill a Mockingbird, because I've never actually read it, and I know I should.
Oh, that's an awesome book.
So
and
there we go. And I've been doing some, as it's been called, Scott Johnson called it this week, No Man's Ski. So I've been doing a little more No Man's Sky, little No Man's Ski, and I think I'm going to push through and get to the core and be done with that. I'm ready to be done, but the core is out there, and the cake is a lie. So that is what I've been doing, and we've only got a little bit, but let's get into the news.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
Countdown to September 7th is coming. The HK chapter, we're all waiting with bated breath. That should be quite interesting. If you have that as sort of a subscriber reward, I'm excited that Shroud's going to be back. And then there's a couple other things coming with that as well, including some bug fixes, right, Seema?
Yeah, there's a Tate posted that the quote-unquote missing details data is simply a text issue with the Depths of Manon achievement, so that should be fixed in 471, which is the patch we're going to get for this September 7th countdown. September HK chapter. So yeah, if you have that, it'll be fixed in.
Great. And then we saw a tweet come from SWTOR. You can look for it in the SWTOR Twitter feed, that there's a new weapon called the VFX, I mess that up every time in pre-show, VFX weapon set that are going to be available as some kind of rewards out of Eternal Championship. I think it's nice that they're adding some new rewards to Eternal Championship. I also think the weapon set looks sort of cool. In fact, here I'll put it in the stream. You can see this epic smuggler with these 2 glowing blasters. They only show the blasters in this little animated GIF. Next, especially juxtaposed against his epic mustache, it makes me want to grab those. I love any of the blasters that have the sighting laser that comes off of it, especially if it can be changed by a color crystal. So we'll have to see how it works out. Yeah, it sounds interesting.
What do you think VFX stands for?
Very fine and exciting. I don't know. What do you think?
5F10. I don't know.
I think it's nice that they're adding more to rewards to Eternal Championship. I haven't done it as much as I thought I would. I need to do it more time at least for Dark versus Light. So we'll see if this
Same
compels me to do them more. Is this going to make you want to do it? I guess we'll have to see what the weapons look like. You're mostly a glow stick user, right? Well, no, you got your little...
Well, no. Yeah, I mean, the blasters, actually, that's what I would get.
You got your little merc there.
Merc,
Yeah.
Yeah. My little merc.
Sima with the little eye patch going on there. And exactly.
Yes. Yeah, but I'll forego the mustache.
Good plan. Quick hit in guild and community news. We are having great experience with Discord. We used it tonight for a mandatory fun night. I'm having fun. I'm hanging out in there, and most days I was on it on my phone and on my laptop when I was downtown at work today. It's great to see a lot of the chatter going across all of the channels and all of the games that we play in AIE, and see what some of those other officers and communities across our greater guild are doing. So thumbs up. I had fun. I liked it tonight. I think it worked well for our general voice chat. I think we're going to stick with it and use it some more.
I'm pretty impressed with how sort of seamlessly Discord works. I mean, it hasn't been an issue. It hasn't been difficult for me anyway.
Seamlessly is good. Seamlessly would not be. That would be terrible.
Seema Morley would be better.
Yep.
And as always, come join AIE. If you're on Jedi Covenant, just type /cjoin AIE LFO and say hi. And if an officer is around, which is likely to be in the evenings, we will invite you. If you want to know more about the guild, you can check it out at aie-guild.org.
Yes. And thank you to the chat room and the community at large. I'm starting to get a little more of some of those jokes sent in. Please keep sending those, because then I'll have someone to blame. I mean, I'll have more input to help kick off the show. And certainly thank you to everybody that's been starting to send in some of the tips that I've been asking for. I talked it up a little bit in Discord, and I'll talk to some people after the show here. We did it a little bit in voice and in Mandatory Fun Night. But let's get into that and explain what we're doing there.
And now for something completely different.
Completely different. So in these in-between times when we're in between content, what we wanted to try to do just to shake things up a little bit is to put together a shorter format, quick hit show where we're going to go through 3, 4, 5 tips for SWTOR. Shorter segment, quicker hit, maybe a slightly more consumable in the times when we don't have a big content release. We know we'll have the HK chapter coming on the 7th. We'll probably do a bigger segment that talks all about that once that is out. In the in-between times, now potentially between now and October, when something bigger comes up, we'll have a bigger show. Well, maybe we'll do more of these sort of quick tip and more concise shows to sort of fill in the times in between, but keep things rolling. So with that, tonight, we have 4 tips that we've picked out, and we've structured them as something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. I don't know that we'll stick with that breakdown, but that's what came to mind when I was brainstorming on my run today, so that's what we're going with. So Seema, kick us off with something old.
So this is an oldie but goodie, and if you're new, you may not know about this at all. And if you're old, like us, you may have forgotten about it, but you can get a free Tauntaun mount. Well, yeah, free on Hoth. It wasn't at launch, but it was fairly soon afterwards. So you go to Hoth, and there's a special vendor where you can buy some lures. Then you use the lures. You have to find these nests of Tauntauns. You use the lures to lure them out, and then you collect tokens, and then you can turn in a stack for a Tauntaun mount. Yeah.
This was a fun thing, especially back when mounts mattered a little bit.
Yes, when they weren't so generally available. But I think also you can just buy the tokens too if you don't want to do. I seem to remember that. But yeah, turns out it's not that big of a deal. I thought it was going to. I remember back at the time, I thought it was going to be a lot of back and forth, and it would take forever to get that many tokens. But it actually went pretty quick.
Yeah, there's a handful of little nests around Hoth that you can go chase down. I think Delphi's still got a good guide with pictures. If you're really ambitious, you could be switching maps between the various map instances and going to a set of nests and using them. There's a timeout. You can't use them over and over, so you have to like go to a nest and then go to the 5 that are on the planet and then switch maps and go to the 5 again. But it's sort of like a little challenge, a little grindy thing. There's a few of those old things in the game that it's sort of fun to go after. Maybe we'll throw a couple more tips of that kind in this, like the tonlet pet that you can get on Ilum, which is a little secret pet. In terms of another tip for something new, the cartel market, and this probably we could probably spend a couple minutes on the cartel market in general, but ShadowCon talked about it earlier today, and this actually went back and forth in the guild with some of the new people over the course of the past week. What unlocks and what doesn't unlock in collections. So this is a key tip, especially for what doesn't unlock. So the only 2 things that don't unlock that you could buy off the cartel market that you need to be careful about is dyes and weapon tunings. You need to be most careful about dyes. So dyes are a consumable, and once you apply it to a piece of gear, it's done. So you can put it on your gear, and you put it on a chest piece. I don't know, Seema, if this is dyed here, but it goes in your.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not wearing any gear. Of course, I am not wearing gear, but yeah, if you have any gear on, you have a potential for a dye slot in your gear. So here it says dye module open. If you say you buy one of these expensive black dyes off the cartel market, you stick it on that piece of gear, that's it. It's done. It's consumed. It doesn't end up in your collections. It's not unlocked. It sits there in that piece of gear, and it's done forever. So that's it. That's potentially a challenge you got to keep an eye out for. Weapon tunings. Weapon tunings are also not unlockable in collections. They're sort of applied as a cosmetic. Those, though, are extractable. They're sort of a mod. You can then put them in a legacy weapon and pass them back and forth between characters. You don't lose them. But what I tried to do when I first got my first weapon tuning is I bought the weapon tuning off the GTN. I'm using it on my mercenary. I've got 2 blasters, right? Put the weapon tuning in, look in my collections, because I'll figure I'll just get another copy, just like I do with color crystals. Nope. So I had to go buy 2 of them. So keep that in mind, and, I don't know, it's a little bit of a bummer for those of us that need 2 weapon tunings if we want on a character, rather than the people that only need 1, but that's sort of the way they work.
Yeah. And for something borrowed, we borrowed from the Reddit thread that's about things you didn't know about SWTOR, is that you can double-click reticule type abilities like AoE abilities, rather than having to click or keybind the ability, then put the reticule on the ground. You can just double-click it, and it will put it on the ground around whatever you have targeted. And this has been around for a while, but a lot of people haven't noticed it, or whatever. It's new to some people, or it's one of those things that you might not have known, but it's actually a really good way to cast AoE heals, and that's what I use it for.
Yeah, this one not everybody knows about, and you do need to go into settings in your preferences. You look under controls. Down at the bottom, there's this thing called quick ground target activation. You need that checkbox enabled, and then you have this ability. You can either double click the icon in your bar with your mouse if you're a mouse clicker. If you're a it's going to make some derogatory comment about mouse clicking people, only because that's only to fit in with the cool kids crowd. If you're a mouse clicker, you can double click on the icon in your bar. If you have everything bound, you can double click the key that you use. It works for aggressive abilities on a target hostile mob, and it works, as Seema said, on AoE ground target abilities on healing mobs. So I use this all the time with my DPS when I'm doing either my Death from Above or my Sweeping Blasters. I need to cast that in some area, right? I click on the mob that's in the middle of the group that I want to target, and then I just double click here in this case to get Death from Above. I just double tap the 8 key on my keyboard with my face as I face roll through the content.
And then you don't have to do that little step where you're sliding the reticle around until you get it where you want.
Right, exactly. And you don't have to sort of take the extra time. It's really useful in things like PvP, because maybe you've got somebody targeted or you're tab targeting and you get somebody that's in the middle of the group and you double tap to drop your AoE on the group. I use it all the time on my Sork in PvP because I'm doing my dot spread. I'll drop dots on somebody, my couple different dots, and then I drop my my madness. Am I forgetting my favorite ability? What it's something like that.
What is your favorite ability?
That's it. It's the
ability to remember things. That would be my favorite ability.
That would be great. But yeah, I double click my AoE to do that dot spread, and I can do it on the run then, just as long as Deathfield. Yeah, Deathfield. Thank you, SWTOR, from the chat room. Why did I blank out on Death? That's my favorite ability in the game is Deathfield. So I can double click my Instacast Deathfield, drop it as I'm on the run, as long as I've got somebody targeted. I don't have to be, I don't even have to, I can sort of be looking somewhere else. I can have my mouse somewhere else on the screen, and it's great. And as you said, you use it a lot with the healing, right?
I was going to say with healing too. I mean, you don't even have to be facing the person that you have targeted. Like maybe you know who you want to heal, and they're all people. You know that people are bunched up there, but you're moving already to get to wherever the tank is going. But you can, see, I can have my back to you. Let me target you. I can have my back completely to you and still.
Fancy. That's excellent. Especially if you're a healer and you're very focused on the tank, and you need to keep the tank in focus because you're doing a lot of healing on the tank. I've done this. I'm not a master healer like Seema, but I do it to drop my AoE because you usually have some melee that are close enough to the tank that they're going to get the sweep of the AoE. I'll just double shoot it either at the tank or somebody in the middle of the group of melee or something like that, and I'll just click over real quick. Works really well. And our last one, something blue. So we are all waiting to potentially get our blue Chiss companion. Let me double check though, see if we got I have not seen them updating our Dark V Light percentages.
Oh yeah.
Still 52.01 to 47.99. I feel like they're just not updating because it would change at least in the 100th.
Yeah.
But you got your little blue Chiss Jedi over here. If you just start the game, especially if you're a new player, you may not have the Chiss race unlocked for the Republic side. So if you're an Imperial, you can then play a Chiss. You can start a Chiss character. Say you flip over to Republic and you want to make your own Chiss Jedi. You want to make this character right here. You can't do that if you don't have the Chiss race unlocked. There's a couple ways to unlock races in that way. You can go to the Imperial side and play that race to level 50, and then it unlocks in your legacy. And as long as it's unlocked in your legacy, you can go in your species tab here. As soon as you play it to 50, it'll unlock here, and then you can use it. The second thing you can do to get your blue Chiss is to pay to unlock it. You're either going to need to buy the race unlock from the cartel market with cartel coins, or find it potentially on the GTN, and you could buy it with credits in that way. I think I bought the cats off of the GTN when Cathar came out, because Cathar was one that you didn't have initially, and you did need to buy when it first came out. I bought the cats off the GTN and unlocked it that way.
I have never made a Chiss character.
Really? I like
I never have.
I like the Chiss because you can make their skin really blue, or you can also make it gray. So when I was making my gray, I was doing my Sith assassin is a gray Chiss character, sort of gray skin with the red eyes, and I played him as I started playing him, then I ended up going all light side, but I started playing him as a gray character, and I like the Chiss because there's a lot of times they're sort of portrayed as relatively devoid of emotion. And I would just play him as not caring, and he would just go, and sometimes he'd kill people, sometimes he wouldn't, whatever just seemed the most efficient and logical at the time. And he was gray, and he had gray skin, and he was Max the Gray's character. It all sort of fits. But no, I have a lot of Chiss for some reason.
I'm the opposite of the people who are disappointed in the Thrawn character for Star Wars Rebels that he didn't have the red eyes, is because I like real eyeballs instead of just the glowy eyes, even though I do have a cybernetic eye. But
yeah, the actual glow
real
would be sort of distracting when they end up putting him in putting Chiss live action in one of the movies. So maybe that's the direction they're going. And probably easier on the actor's eyes not to be wearing the contacts all the time.
Yeah, that's
or
true.
fixing it up in post.
All
right. Well, that is our quick tips show. We wanted to get some quick ones out there, make it a little more bite-sized and consumable in the in-between times. I would really love for people to be sending in their favorite tips. When we do the something borrowed type of section, my idea is we're going to go and steal something. In this case, that double-click idea came from a great Reddit thread. Maybe I'll put in the link in the patch notes, where people talked about secrets that they wish they had learned, or it took me a year and 2 characters to level 65 before I realized you could spacebar through cutscenes. That kind of stuff.
Like that. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, it's a really good thread.
So I love that thread. I'm happy to borrow and steal from great threads like that. But we'll want to do more of these kinds of tips too. So send in your favorites, and we'll sort of do a mini set when we do these quick tip shows. So this is quick
Especially
tips
if you have
part
any blue
I.
ones, because we might run out of blue.
We might have to, as I was saying,
tips.
we might have to do something else for that segment. We might have to do
I know.
good, the bad, and the
Little bit of lack
ugly.
of blue tips.
The Three Musketeers. There are 4 lights tips. So, I don't know. Something like that.
I'll probably kill you tips.
Yeah. So with that, our EPC 157 episodes, can you believe it, is
No.
ready to head out and get in that riveting escape pod. Thanks to all of you for joining us on newoverlords.com, on iTunes, YouTube, or live here on Twitch. We will stream again next Tuesday night on twitch.tv/newoverlords around 10:30 p.m. Central. Please follow us on Twitter @MaxTheGray and @AIESEMA. And come find us on Jedi Covenant and ask us for an AIE Guild invite. We would love to have you. And we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.